the Southern University system then holds Southern University at New Orleans, the chancellor, responsible for its segment of, or its component of those responsibilities. And that's where we are. So, Dr. Evans and his co-presenting, I'm supporting Dr. Evans in the outcomes, in helping you and helping everyone to understand the cascading responsibility and how all of that comes down to everyone in this particular auditorium. So,
You know, I mentioned the formula during my address, but there are three components to the formula. Our base budget, and I want you to pay attention to this base budget. Then we have something called cost, and then the next part are our outcomes. All right, and those are critical to the funding of the institution. All right, because I don't think y'all can see that slide. You can see that.
That's right.
you can't see it? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, as you mentioned, so there's three different components. There's the base, is what we did based on the fact that we are here, but the base is shrinking, is the major part that we want everyone to understand. So that, the base is what you get, I hate to say automatically, but this slide shows from FY '22, and previously, the base was 58%, and FY '23, the base is shrinking to 55%. And what the chancellor wants everyone to understand is that the base, what you get at, I wouldn't say automatically, but what you're going to see is 50%. And while the base is decreasing, the outcome expectation is increasing, which is why he has emphasized that so much. So if we don't intervene in our own activities and we don't do anything differently, then our funding will decrease. So what he's asking us to do is to perform, because the performance is what gets you to the outcomes. And if we perform at the levels that we not just can perform or expected to perform, but if we even take advantage of the opportunities that we have, that number could increase. I won't say the sky's the limit like they're going to give us all this money, but we basically have an opportunity. I won't say to write our own ticket, but if we outperform, then we get more money. And the chancellor wants Suno to have more money.
I want to say something about the cost. I want to say something about the cost component of the formula. We have it right here. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Yes, sir. We all know we serve at the pleasure of the chancellor. So here, I'm sorry I can't see everything, but the cost is based on the program of study, instructional facilities, the SREB, Southern Regional Education Board peer group data, class size, and support services.
I want to say something about the program of study, the class size, and the facilities. I talked about nursing, what nursing is going to do. So there's a hierarchy of weights when you look at student credit hours, all right? So those programs in STEM have a higher weight. They have a higher weight than courses in liberal arts, social sciences. Okay, here we are, all right? So this is why it is so important for us, especially in And then, of course, graduate credit hours are really the gold standard. That's where the money is made, at the graduate level. And so, at some point, we gotta have a doctoral program here at the university, and more graduate level programs, and we need to have more STEM programs. So when we talk about areas like nursing, cardiopulmonary science, public health, and Dr. Johnson, we're looking at data science, we're looking at actuarial science. Not only will we receive more funding through the formula, but these are 21st century programs. These programs represent demand for professionals. We're going to start cybersecurity in the fall. It's going to be on the Board of Regents agenda in March. We're going to start that in the fall. That's why it's so critical for us in all of our disciplines to be thinking about new programs at higher levels so that we generate more resources. Now, the other thing, class size. We got to grow the university. We are not going to generate the kind of funding being a 2,000 student university. No reason that we shouldn't be 5,000 students. But with the right programs, we'll get there. And then the other thing, facilities. I'm getting ready to step on y'all's toes now, all right? Every year, there is a facility survey. And they look at the use of our facilities, all right? The more you use the facilities, the more money we generate. But if we have all of our activity from 10 to 2, we're not going to generate the kind of funding that will come from the formula. Those classrooms, those research labs, and the research labs generate more funding. All right, and so this is why we need graduate programs in these critical areas, and we need a bigger student body so that we maximize this formula, all right? More programs in these high productivity areas, and we utilize our facilities across the day. And even on weekend, I wasn't here, but, I remember from conversations that I had that you couldn't get in the parking lot at SUNO on the weekends because we had evening and weekend classes. Of course, we now have online, which will take up for some of that, but there are people who still like face-to-face. There are opportunities to deliver certifications. People get off from work, they come, they get certificates in some of these critical areas, degree programs. We got to be experts in this formula, and this is why I talk about being focused and impact. There are things that we can do to impact the funding of this institution by us being experts on this formula.
Absolutely. You may not be able to see it, but the outcomes are basically what Dr. Ammons has talked about before. Degree completion, programs that align to high demand fields, student progression, research, and completion of Pell Grant, minorities and adult students. So students who are in those categories, I'm gonna call this the Mo Money slide. This is the Mo Money slide. And MO, you get more money. If you focus on these groups of students. And really, Louisiana has a master plan itself, and it wants to graduate, particularly adults between 25 and 64. 25 and 64. But it plans to have 60% of the entire state of adults between 25 and 64 to have a credential. Right? And so that is the plan for the state. And SUNO, I believe, is at the center of that, given, I mean, everybody, you all know that we have majority adult students, correct? So the state actually looks at us, I believe, you know, and we can play a real big role in that. So I think our 9 to 10 minutes may almost be up, but the bottom line is cascading responsibility. The state of Louisiana holds the system, the Southern University system, accountable for its larger Louisiana goals because we're a public institution. And the system holds Dr. Ammons accountable, and Dr. Ammons has just given you the State of the University address, and he is holding us all accountable as he is being held accountable so that we can take advantage of the opportunities and address the challenges and issues that predated us, but take advantage of the opportunities that we have to increase funding for Southern University at New Orleans.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey. Now, this was very important. And one of the things that I found is that, you know, when we talk about these aggregate numbers, they don't sink in. So for merit, these numbers are going to be disaggregated by program. So we're going to be looking at retention, persistence, graduation, placement, completers for every program. So the merit criteria that we're developing, that criteria will apply to each program and each program faculty. All right? And so that's why I said we gotta focus. We gotta focus. It's not gonna be this 70% and it's just for the university in retention. The 70% is for every program. All right? The graduation rate, 50%, is for every program. We have got to work this formula. We know it. We know the formula. We know the components of the formula, and we know that the performance component of the formula is increasing. The Board of Regents in March will consider this proposed new formula. And I can tell you right now, before they vote, they're gonna approve it. And so 50% of the funding that will come to this university is gonna be based on how we graduate our students. And it's gonna take all of us, every component of this university, every interaction that we have with the student, for us to get that done. Okay? So, here it is. This is our plan. This is our work plan to improve retention, persistence, graduation, and placement. All right? Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, another slight adjustment. We're gonna ask Dr. Isa Nicollet, System Chair, Ochsner Urgent Care and Occupational Health, to speak with us a bit about healthy updates, followed by the Urban Laboratory with Dr. Purdy. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
It's Aisha.